Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is Janet at Emerald Gypsy Arts, welcoming you back to another video. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Today we're going to talk about Tomoe River paper. I've been hearing about it for a few years now, and it's really rather expensive paper. So I saved up some and I grabbed a package of loose sheets, the A5 size. I didn't want to spend the extra on a whole diary or journal in case I didn't like the paper, because I'm really kind of a paper snob. It's not the price that counts to me, it's just the feeling. So there's some papers I have that were pretty expensive, not this expensive, but pretty expensive, that I really don't like working on at all. So I figured 100 A5 size sheets would be a perfect sort of starter pack that I could give it a try. That's at least say 150 or so day-by-day journal entries. So let's see how that works. I'm going to do it as a box book. I love doing those where they're loose sheets in a box, kept in order if you want them, or rearranged. But I have the perfect size box for A5 sheets. Now, Tomoe River paper is from Japan. It's manufactured in Japan. For those that don't know, those that know about Tomoe River paper, this video is kind of beginner because I'm beginner, so I'm going to speak like a beginner with this particular paper type. I just received it in the mail this morning, so I left the unpackaging for the camera. Thought maybe those of you that haven't run into the paper before would be interested in seeing it. Tomoe River paper is 52 GSW, which is grams per square meter, I believe it is. Grams per square meter. That's the weight of it at a square meter. This cardstock, well, it feels like cardstock, but it's actually watercolor paper, heavy watercolor paper. That's usually about 200 to 250 GSM. Tomoe River paper is supposed to be one of the lightest weight, most delightful papers to work on. Takes almost all mediums, which hence is why the array of things out here, because we're going to try some stuff on it and see how it performs. And that's what I'm talking about today, is Tomoe River paper. So let's get to it. It came in a regular envelope surrounded by a piece of cardboard, which was lovely. And we'll take out a sheet. Oh my goodness. It distinctly has the feeling of parchment. This is parchment. And this is Tomoe River. And the parchment is maybe one calculation down. This is beautiful paper. Oh my goodness. It's smooth and it's lightweight. You hear the crinkle? Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see how it performs, shall we? Let me back it up with, how about we back it up with this card, just so we know about bleed through and so on. Okay, so you ready? I'm sorry about the lighting today. It doesn't seem to be as bright as it should be. One day I'll get it right, or get one of those circle lamps or whatever. So, all right, so the first thing we're going to try is a permanent Sharpie marker, black. And I'm not going over the same spot just because I'm trying it in a line. I mean, going over the same spot could get you bleed through with a lot of different stuff. And a stamp pad. Let's see how that does. Oh, that's not very full. Let's try another stamp pad. I know I need to reload a lot of these. Oops. All right, black. Even this is probably not loaded as much as it should be. No. I use it, sorry for the delay, folks, but I use the black stamp pad a lot for edging on ephemera and stuff, so it's usually run out. Maybe this one has too, I don't know. I'm not having any luck with stamp pads today. All right, one more try, and then that's it. I'm done with the stamp pad thing. Nope, they're all dry. Wow, that's amazing. I've got a new batch on the way in from eBay, though. I love those little stamp pads. Okay, so forget the stamp pad. Let's take a look at some markers. We'll try those. Two of my favorite colors right there. And a regular pen, just a regular ballpoint pen. And a fountain pen. And an art pen. This is a Micron art pen. This is what I do drawing in. And it especially has to be able to take this pen. These art pens. I go through a lot of them. A lot of them. And we will try a pen and ink dip pen. For those of you like me who love to work or draw in pen and ink. And finally, my handy dandy water brush and some watercolor, maybe blue because blue is so pretty. And let's get it a little bit darker on there. Okay. All right, so we'll try those mediums, and I'm going to sit this underneath the dryer for a minute to make sure that the paint is dry, the watercolor. And while I'm drying it, I wanted to show you, there are often times where you run into a journal that you really love. My daughter gave me this journal about probably 8 years ago, and I went through it and finished it, and it sat there full and finished for literally years on my shelf. And I absolutely love the cover. It's very me, very boho, very gypsy, whatever you want to call it these days. But I love the cover, and I wanted the cover back again. So I looked for covers like this online, couldn't find, I mean, there were similar ones, but it wasn't this one. So instead, I took the innards, or part of the innards, that many pages, probably about 100 to maybe 200 pages out of my Miguel Ruiz. It's the grid paper in the Miguel Ruiz, which is, let me tell you, about as close to the Tomoe River paper as I've ever felt. I love working on this stuff. Love it. But I took about 150 sheets of that, and I put it in my favorite journal. I inserted it in, I took my journal out, the one that was in there in full, and I wrapped it up lovingly and put it back on the shelf, outside of its cover. Now, the Miguel Ruiz paper is just the slightest bit. See, it doesn't overhang either end, but it's a little bigger than the actual pages of this book. So it's just a tiny bit longer, and it comes out. I mean, it doesn't overhang again and stuff. Even if it did, it wouldn't matter. But what I did was basically reconstruct my favorite cover, complete with its beginning pages. I love that. Be brave, even if you're not, pretend to be. No one can tell the difference. Just wonderful stuff. And I wanted this book back, so it had these plain white, sort of linen-y cream color sheets. And I gotta say, these days I don't use cream color. I don't like it. I like white. And the Miguel Ruiz paper, I've actually bought a few of those big, thick 600-page notebooks ahead of time, so I had it in case they stock run on them, because they were out of stock for about 7 months at one point last year. So I filled this book And all I did was I saved the cross binding, the piece that sits in the binding canal, and I glued a stack of the Miguel Ruiz to it with good strong glue, and I let it sit for about 3 days, and I have my journal back. So if you want your favorite journal to use again, just gut it, you know, lovingly put the innards away, and then fill it with something you love to work on, and it gives you your journal back. So let's see how the paint is doing on our Tomoe River paper. Okay, time for the truth revealed. Forget about the stamp pads. That's awful. That is absolutely awful. I'll fill the black one today because I use India ink in it, out of my ink thing, my ink. But the other colored ones, I have replacements coming. And funnily enough, these are really reasonable on eBay. These many colored stamp pad things. They're like under $2, and they lasted me for, cripes, almost 6 months, 7 months. To me, that's a great investment. And I can refill them. I'll refill that one with purple, because I'm not going to bother with the 4 colors again. I'll just use it as a purple stamp pad. All right, moment of truth. Let us see. Wow, nothing has come through. Not the watercolor or any of the 4 colors of pen I did, or the Sharpie permanent marker, or the 2 art markers. Nothing has come through, folks. Now you can see it all because this wonderful paper is kind of see-through. But nothing has bled through at all. That means both sides of a page of Tomoe River paper is usable. Both sides. I've heard, see, even my pen and ink didn't come through. That's the only thing I've heard that actually has been complained about coming through Tomoe River paper is heavy pen and ink use. Now I can see how that would come through if you were coloring in a black spot, you know what I mean, make multiple layers of ink or something. Then I can see why it would bleed through. But even the watercolor, there's very little wrinkling, and it seemed to flatten out a bit after. I'm sold. I'm sold, folks. I'm just gonna keep saving up for Tomoe River paper for my own journal, my own personal journal. The other journals I use, you know, on day-to-day for different things, they can stay what they are because I love them all, and especially the one I showed you a minute ago. I will never stop using Miguel Ruiz paper, ever. I love it. But as far as my journal, I think I'm sold on the Tomoe River. So I'll use these 100 sheets, and when I get down to about 25 or 30 sheets left, I will actually order the, I've looked at the different notebooks on the site, the Tomoe River site in Japan, and the one called the Standard, C, wow, 1 second. Well, I found out that I can't lower my camera screen and not have it shut off. Sorry about that, folks. It's the Nanami site, Nanami, and you'll find the Tomoe River paper there. The one that I'm going to get once I use up these 100 sheets is the 7 Seas Standard. They have so many different books with different day things and weekly things and so on, but this is a blank sheet, white paper, lots and lots of this delicious paper in a plain binding and so on. 7 Seas Standard with Tomoe River paper, and that's going to be my next journal purchase. If I can use this kind of paper for my really, you know, personal, oh, that would be absolutely wonderful. Okay, so while the camera was off, because I didn't realize the camera was off, because I had lowered the screen, I tore off that horrible stamp pad part, and we're going to try and see how glue works with it. That's the only other test I would say for me, because I use a lot of glued in things in my journals, no matter which journal it is. Very few, I can't even think of one journal that's just strictly writing. I don't think I have one anymore. I think I incorporate, you know, multimedia into almost everything. Now let's try that for a minute, and we will see how that reacts with glue. I love those purple glue sticks as well. They completely disappear. They become completely transparent when they're dry. And honestly, between the two glue sticks, I know I've talked about this before, but I'm going to say it one more time. Between the two glue sticks, the purple is so much stronger. I use this for lightweight paper stuff, but anything over that or something that I want to last forever, I use the purple now because they're the same price. And oh my goodness, one is amazingly stronger than the other is. Okay, let's see. That's just a glue stick, so it might take a few more minutes to dry. But let's see. Yeah, that's stuck. That is stuck. It's still a little bit tacky, but it's, yeah. Once it's dry, I can see it being really stuck, folks. Okay, well, I'm convinced this is what I'll be saving up for. I absolutely love it. I hope that everybody has an amazing day, and I'll see you the next time.